Good evening.
How are we doing?
Doing great.
Howdy ho, everyone.
Hello.
Welcome to another episode of Supernatural Talk. First off, it's great to be back after having this 2-week break from the show. So, Adrian, seems like you and Eileen were able to hold down the fort last week.
We got this. We got this. Yeah, Marcus is fun anyway.
I really didn't want to miss that one, but I just needed to take my break for that one.
Well, you wouldn't need to take a break if you weren't trying to do 10 shows in a week. So,
Not my fault.
who is it? I think it's you that goes, yes, okay, I will.
If it's I'm not even going to go into detail of that.
There you go.
So for tonight, we got some very special guests, which of course, these are also two folks that I've been very good friends with for these last couple of years. We got Ron and Denise Pridemore, who's not only runs the Paranormal Pride, but also Paranormal Nation Radio, and also our newest edition of the Things Go Society, so of Things of Florida. So Ron, Denise, it's great to have you guys on.
Oh, good to be with you, Nick, Adrian.
Yep.
Florida.
Nick,
Hey, Susan and Mike.
Nick, it's been more than 5 years.
Yeah,
Actually,
it's
been
God.
I
it's
know.
been almost 7, if not longer.
I know.
The last time I saw you guys it had to be 5 years. I think the last time I saw you guys was in 2019. So, yeah.
That's probably right. Yeah.
And we met in 2018, I believe.
That's correct. That down in Alton.
Mhm.
Yep.
So,
At the Paracon.
I
In fact, we didn't run into you at the Paracon. It was at the hotel when we were checking out.
yep. The
I
next
remember
one.
that. Yeah.
Yeah, I saw your jacket, and you were just, man. I said, man, this guy is really into this supernatural anything. I said, I love his enthusiasm. I said, I gotta go over and talk to him. That's how we met. I said, we'll go over and talk to him. You and Tom.
Mhm.
That's pretty typical now whenever I go to Paracons.
Right.
Till
Well,
it
everybody
gets
knows
stolen.
What was that, Adrian?
Till it gets stolen.
Oh, don't even.
What?
No, it hasn't been stolen.
Your jacket? No.
Yes, it has.
Oh,
little
it
bit-
has?
A little bit, but yes, it has.
Oh my gosh.
Well, briefly, but I got it back.
Jeremy took it.
It was somebody who knew you, right?
Right.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it was.
Oh,
Oh,
Jeremy.
okay. So it was, all right.
It was
right.
Jeremy.
Okay.
And I later he got locked up in a jail cell, and I was able to take a mugshot of him.
I'll say that's a one of a kind jacket. You couldn't make that.
I actually already have.
There's no way.
I actually have a few others out there who are actually aspire to even want to make vests very much similar to mine. Of course, obviously,
Yeah.
I don't know if they go right down to the like the way I put it together, but I got a few others that want to make their own vests like that.
right here.
So,
Hey, Tom.
just before, just want to get to the comments real quick. Well, Antone.
We weren't
Oh,
even late, dude.
Hey,
Seriously.
Sean. Oh, speaking of Tom, here he is in the chat.
Yep.
Hard to keep still. What the hell are you talking about?
That's true. We
Hello,
don't sit
Karen.
still.
He's going to hide a few times. Why am I not surprised, Tom? I know he always has been trying to do that.
Mhm.
How do they get it off
Well,
of you? long
anyways,
enough to-
He took it
Ron,
off.
Denise, why don't you guys tell us a little bit about yourselves before you became Things of Florida?
Oh, that's a really long story. You don't have enough time
Your
for
sound
that.
is-
Were we things of Kansas? I don't know.
No, we were not things of Kansas.
Kansas. Where at in Kansas?
Well, we used to live in
Just south,
Overland Park.
just south of Overland Park, Lewisburg.
My husband and I grew up in Garden City, Kansas.
Okay,
Okay,
that's what
that's on the other side, but
about 4 hours away.
Yeah.
So we're right on the Kansas-Missouri border.
Mhm.
So just south of Kansas City.
Kansas
So-
City is a different kind of place.
mhm.
And that's why we're in Florida.
Yeah. Yeah, my cousin lives in Florida and she keeps telling me, come on, come on, come on. I'm like, when is there not hurricane season? Then I'll go.
We haven't seen one yet.
I remember last year that was nope.
That didn't hit us.
Where are you
We didn't
at?
see-
What part?
We're near Pensacola, near Destin.
It's like Northeast Florida. I know. I've been to Destin years ago, so I know where that's at.
Yeah, we moved up here after I did a bunch of research on a bunch of different things. I was
Panhandle.
I was the disaster contact for a phone company called Sprint, and my whole job was to clean up after hurricanes. So I learned where I wanted to live from where I didn't want to live.
Mm-hmm.
How, I didn't want to be near any water. I'm near it, but I'm not on it. And so that was the big thing. We are in a non-flood zone and a non-evacuation zone. The last hurricane to hit where we live was Hurricane Ivan. It did some damage, but the building codes have changed in those 20 years. And then Hurricane Sally hit, and all they got over here was some minor flooding in some of the subdivisions closer to Escambia Bay. So where we are, nope, we're good. And
yeah, they predicted 25 hurricanes,
and there's been
five. So we're gonna squeeze in 20 in 7 weeks. Better hurry up.
Okay, so my cousin lives in Tampa.
Yep.
Yeah, they saw the backside or the dirty side of the hurricanes. So Ron's cousins live in Tampa.
We're not
too.
worried about it
anymore. Everybody's got some kind of weather that has been a disaster. You said you did some of the cleanup. Have you been doing that for a long time?
I haven't done it in a bunch of years, but that was my main job when I worked at Sprint.
I helped with Katrina. Of course, it was 5 years after the fact when we went in, because we were hired by FEMA to go in and get the trailers, clean them up, take them back to the yard. Well, we ran into some serious issues over that because they had told those people that they could keep those campers.
Oh.
And then they found there was formaldehyde in the carpeting. So they told them they could not. So you can imagine what we ran into, because I don't think they made it very clear by the time we went in.
Yeah. So my job was, I was the person between the people in the field and getting the stuff that they needed to bring the field back up. So getting telephone service back up for the masses. And so there's a ton of equipment that's required for that. And so I learned all about it. In fact, one funny story about that was I went in the hospital to have surgery for my gallbladder. I had been sick during this whole hurricane season that we had. And we had Charlie and Florence, and it was the year we had a whole bunch of them. And I said, as long as you don't say anything to me about a hurricane, we'll be fine. I said, I just don't want to hear about any more, because I was still cleaning up a mess, and it was right before Christmas. And I'm in the recovery room, and they say something about somebody named Charlie, and I yell out from my dead sleep, we're not taking requisitions for Charlie anymore. And the lady looks at me like, what's wrong with you? But I was awake.
I tell you, okay, 5 years after Katrina, I had to have been in my early 30s, and say maybe even late 20s. But the funniest thing about that was, I guess I was raised really sheltered, because we got there and, well, Louisiana, New Orleans. I was cleaning out the campers. They said, anything in there you keep, you can have it. Doesn't matter. Well, I found a diamond ring, so I was trying to find the owner. I know they knew who lived in it. I was trying to find them, whatever. I'm cleaning one of these up, and I reach down and pick up this glass thing, and I'm like, I have nowhere to throw it away. I stick it in my purse. My husband,
I think I know where you're going.
My husband says, "What did you do with that?" I said, "What?" He said, "That glass you picked up." I said, "It's not broken. I put it in my purse, tried to find a place to throw it away." He goes, "You did what?" And we're driving at this point down to the next one. He goes, "You did what?" I said,
It's a meth pipe.
"What did you want me to do with it?" He goes, "Do you know what it is?" And I said, "It's glass." I no. He says, "Oh my gosh." So we find the first place to pull over, and he's just smashing it into the ground. And he says, "Don't pick things."
Yeah.
So that was your first experience with a meth pipe, huh?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
See, you talk about sheltered. When I was doing hurricane cleanup and all that disaster stuff, I was doing it from the office. I didn't have to go out there and do it physically. I had to basically do all the legwork to get all the crap there. So like when Katrina hit, they needed tents and porta potties. And so I had somebody from a porta potty company fax me a quote, and I had to fax the PO to somebody's car for the porta potties to get there.
Jeez.
Yeah. But they had pulled all the porta potties out across the bridge so that they wouldn't have been underwater. So it was a mess.
Yeah.
And thank God it's over. And we're going by New Orleans here on Saturday. We're going over to Baton Rouge.
5 years later, we were still carrying body bags in case we found something. Thank God I didn't. Never did. I'm good with that. I'm great with that. But I did learn a lot. New Orleans is wonderful. I was there one other time when I was a kid, but it was just starting to get back where you see the tourist attractions, the young kids. That's what shocked me the most. The kids, 5, 6 years old, out there performing, no parent in sight.
Yeah.
I'm like, no way. And this was like May, something like that. And people are still up on balconies throwing beads down. I'm like, you think I'm going to do what?
Oh, we got 50 pounds of beads in the closet.
Yeah, we were just there in New Orleans 5 weeks before Katrina.
Oh, wow. That's
We went
scary.
on
So it was really, they were showing everything on TV. It was, our kids are watching it and they recognize everything downtown because that's where we were at.
That is so
they're kind of in shock because they're like, we were just right there, right where all that is underwater. That's where we were at. And I said, yeah.
Because they had a camera right on.
Yeah, they couldn't believe all the spots that were underwater.
Yeah, they had a camera right there on St. Louis Cemetery number 1.
Mm-hmm.
And you could watch it and you could watch the water just come up. And because I was working it, I was watching it,
Mm-hmm.
because it was the first time that I had the chance to work from home. And so I'm watching all of this to see how bad it is. So needless to say, because of all this, I was smart enough to figure out where to live in Florida, and we love it. And, and it's an acquired taste. I have to say, if you can't handle the humidity, this isn't a good place to be, because I tell you, it just pours right off of your face and into your mouth.
Yeah. And if you can't handle 65 in the middle of February, then this ain't for you either.
No. If you want to go snow skiing, there's only one place in Florida to do that, and it's fake snow. And I think it's near Tampa.
I figured it would be fake snow.
They have it in Dubai too. So
Well, we had north of us had some snow flurries earlier this, back in when it was really cold. But for here, really cold is 32.
Yeah. I remember going to Florida to visit my in-laws one time, and I absolutely loved it. Of course, I love New Orleans. It's really humid and ucky too, but that's one thing they told us is constantly drink water, whether you're thirsty or not. It doesn't make any difference. You drink water. I'm like, okay, got it.
Yep. If you think you drank enough, drink more.
Yeah.
It's as bad as
Gatorade, Powerade,
Well,
any electrolytes.
it's the same as your high desert. I mean, if you're not drinking enough, your skin's going dry and you can't deal with it. Here, instead of our skin going dry, everything inside goes dry.
Right.
and it sucks. But, you know,
that's something I didn't miss. My skin cracking.
No, yeah.
In the winter. Ooh.
So, but I'll tell you, I wouldn't change what I told somebody yesterday. I said, I love it here. Sometimes I miss it back there.
Paranormal.
You know?
Yeah, I know we got off track.
Miss those kids.
Way off.
All the kids that we met out there in every place. You know, like Nick, we met him. We miss seeing him now. Yeah. And so hopefully someday we'll make it back a little bit further north and see Nick again. And but paranormal wise, I was born seeing spirits. I'd have to say my first paranormal experience was at the age of 4, and it was an out of body experience where I witnessed my grandmother be killed, and who did it, all of that, and my grandfather went to call my parents. We lived in Patterson, New Jersey. They were in Baltimore. And, you know, back then you didn't call somebody during the day unless it was an emergency, because phone calls were really expensive back in the early 70s. And it was barely 1970. And I told my dad when the phone rang, I said, it's Grandpa. Grandma's gone. Grandma died. And they looked at me and just, you know, answered the phone. And my grandfather sitting there telling my dad that his mother's dead. And they didn't care they just thought I was goofing off. They didn't know that I could see anything. I didn't know that I was seeing anything, you know. It was normal. It was normal for me, but not, you know, I didn't know it wasn't normal for everybody, you know. Mm-hmm. But when I was 10, we had been told by my dad, my mom and dad were separated. My mom lived in one part of Maryland with her boyfriend. My dad lived in another part of Maryland with his girlfriend. And it was July 3rd. And my dad called and says, I'm taking you guys to Newport News to see your family for the 4th of July. And I said, I don't want to go. I don't like you. I hope you die. And he did. And I took that personally for years and years that I had done it. Well, I had also seen him die in another out-of-body experience. So when we got up the next morning, I told my mom, I walked out in the kitchen and said, Dad's dead, and proceeded to tell her how. And the whole time, not noticing the fact that my dad's girlfriend's sitting in the chair next to her. They hadn't talked in years, except for to drop us off, okay? They hadn't talked in years. That's another story you don't want to hear about. But, you know, everything I said, my dad's girlfriend confirmed. And that's when my mom told me, don't tell people what you see, what you hear. They're going to think you're nuts. And, of course, that was in 1975. So roll forward to, what was it? It was probably 1990. Let's see, we got married in 84. So it's been, what, 96?
About 11 years later.
1996. We're buying a car, okay, in a little place in Overland Park. And the guy sitting next to us.
Well, she had, just before that, she had told me, I was out of town quite a bit, and she told me that she was seeing this teenage boy in the middle of the night at the end of the bed, holding out his hand saying, Mommy. And I said, what are you talking about? I said, are you dreaming this? She goes, no, I'm seeing him. Well, she told me this a few times.
But I never said it in front of her.
But she never
She
never elaborated on it. I was like, what are you talking about? What do you mean you seeing this? So I didn't think anything of it.
Yeah. But we just bought a new house. It wasn't brand new. It was new to us. And I was pregnant when I was seeing this. So I just figured, well, you know, this is what I'm seeing. He may have just figured it was just hormones, you know. So I didn't think nothing of it. So years go on, and in 1996, we're buying a car, and we tell the guy our address, and he goes, "You guys live in the suicide house."
We're like, what?
They're like,
I said, what are
how do
you
you know
talking
that?
about? He said, yeah, the teenage kid shot himself. Blew his head off downstairs.
Okay.
And I went, huh.
And I just looked at him and said, "Told you."
And that's when I asked her on the way home, I said, you got some splaining to do. So I said, on the way home, I said, all right, what this kid you were seeing? I said, is this maybe the kid that committed suicide? She goes, I'm pretty sure it is. And I said, well, what does he look like? I said, give me a detail of what he looks like. And this is on the way home. There were no cell phones. She couldn't call my next door neighbor and say, hey, Bill, what so-and-so Aaron's son look like? So as soon as we get there, I said, I'm going over to Bill's house. I said, hey, Bill, so a weird thing happened today. He goes, what's that? And I said, guy said, we're in a suicide house. And he goes, oh, who told you that? And I said, so it's BS, right? And he goes, no. He goes, the people that were renting the house before, Sharon, she still, friends with Bill and Jackie, even to that day, she was always over at Bill's house. Well, she had said that, we used to rent that house years ago. I was like, okay.
And she left it at that. She never.
She said, we lived there before. And I said, oh, okay. And I didn't think anything of it. So I said, what did Sharon's son look like? He goes, well, he's a teenage kid, about 14, 15, 16.
Mm-hmm.
Started describing it, to a T, to what Denise had said.
Wow.
And I said, huh. He goes, why? He goes, because the guy at the dealership told you? I said, no, because Denise saw the kid. He goes, that's impossible. I said, yeah, that's what I think.
And no, it's not.
No, I think I got some more questions for Denise.
Well, the thing was, he didn't know that our house had spirits in it.
No, I had no idea.
All I knew is that I saw this kid, and he kept saying, oh, it's probably Todd or Troy next door. And, in our house.
I know.
I get it.
Probably, we had greyhounds. We used to race greyhounds. We had some that were retired, and we had them in my basement. And there was probably about 4 or 5 occasions where it was usually about in the middle of the night. All of them would just start like howling and going crazy. Just for no reason. And I would go down there, and they acted scared to death. Their hair was raised up. They're usually real gentle dogs. And they were scared. And when I went to open their crate, they couldn't wait to get the hell out. And they didn't want to come back in.
That makes me wonder.
4 or 5 times.
Why? I've always wondered that. Why are animals scared of spirits? Unless they're,
I don't know.
They have bad intentions. I don't understand why they're so scared of them.
They acted really bad.
Well, the kid that I
couldn't calm him down.
If they were seeing him like I saw him, with his, side of his face blown off, that probably could have scared the living daylights out of him. So we don't know if animals see spirits the way they died or the way they lived.
Right.
And in this case, this kid was showing me the way he died. Yeah. And what was strange after that, okay, so part of this story is really odd. We had painted the house. It was that beautiful harvest gold color inside when we bought it. Everybody loves harvest gold. And we needed to paint it. Well, we had these little pellet holes in the wall. We didn't know what they were. We just knew that there were these little pellet holes in the wall. So I kept filling them in with spackle and painting over it. And within
in the back part.
And within 2 to 3 months, it would go back in. Okay. So, I'm repainting, I'm spackling and repainting all the damn time to fix it.
Well, I even spackled over it once. I thought you just didn't know what you were doing. Right. So I hit it. And I mean, a month or two later, it's like I didn't even do anything. I was like, what the hell's going on here?
So after we found out that we were in the suicide house and I had some information, because I didn't have a lot to go on back then.
Right.
No, there wasn't.
I didn't know where to look other than I knew I could look at newspapers, but if it wasn't reported in the newspaper, it wasn't going to be accurate for me to find anything. So the next time the boy showed up, because at this point the kids are scared and they've seen him.
Mm-hmm.
And I just said, when he showed up,
she had never said a thing to him.
Yeah.
She never told him.
I just said, you need to go to the people who love you. I said, they're not here anymore. And a couple days later, the holes that were still in the wall, we spackled over them, painted it, and they never showed back up again.
Wow.
That's incredible.
That is.
They shot himself with a shotgun, so
that's the pellet hole.
I'm going to address Kevin real quick. Kevin, I haven't seen you on before. Nice to meet you.
This looks like a new viewer.
The first comment there you had, this is paranormal. Well, this show goes every direction.
Yep.
Yes, we're paranormal, but yes, we also have life outside of that. And we like to share that as well. Do I have a paranormal story? You're looking at it. I absolutely, I speak to the dead. I've had them follow me home. My stories are really not impressive.
Well, we've had a couple of those too.
I think I had one this week. Friend of ours. She's on there.
Yeah, no, she's not on there. She's at the movies.
She's at the movies.
Yeah, she just
She
popped
did
in.
say hi. She did say hi.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The movies. Yeah.
Up there.
Actually, Nick knows Dara too.
That's
he
right.
met her.
And it's been a couple years too since I've seen her. Holy cow.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. And so one of our stories was printed up in the same book that Nick's and Tom McNicholas's was, where I had this spirit, this entity that came to our house. And it's so back in, what was it? 2017, beginning of 2017. A friend of mine who his name is Joe Citrone. He was actually the second guest I ever had on the Paranormal Pride. And I read his book, fell in love with his writing, and we became friends. And he called me up in February and said, "Hey, we want to do a film about Atchison, Kansas, and the Sally House." And he goes, "Will you be our liaison?" Because at that time we were the tour guides at the Sally House. I had been on Ghost Adventures and all this other stuff, so people knew who I was. As far as that went. That part's not important, but the liaison part was, because I'd never gotten paid for anything paranormal.
Right.
So in this case, I was a liaison. I was getting paid for this, so I wanted to make sure I did the best job I could. I got all my ducks in a row. I had all my history, all that good stuff. We had production meetings, every week, and he goes, "Denise," he goes, "we want to film in August of 2017." And I said, "Well, when?" And for right now, the date.
He just gave a date.
He gave me a date, and I said, "I think that's that's the day of the totality in Atchison." I said, "I don't know if you're going to be able to find a hotel, or a place to stay." So I told him I would get on it. Did all that, and throughout all this, we had all these things going on. The week that they were coming in, they came in on Wednesday. On Monday, we had a whole bunch of things happen. But right before all that, there was this entity that showed up in my house. We had a ceiling kind of like this one here. And it's very similar. Our room here is very similar to that room. But this entity was down on top of me. And it looked like its skin was on fire. And so it was red and black and had really long fingers and wings and 2 extra arms and, all this kind of stuff. It was really scary. He didn't hear it.
No.
I could see it, and it was terrifying. And so I felt like this was a precursor to the stuff that was going to happen coming up. So right before they got there, everyone that was part of the crew had something happen. So we went to bed that night on Sunday night, and the next morning Ron gets up, and you can take over from here.
Yeah, that Monday morning, they were supposed to be coming in. That Monday morning, I got up. I usually get up before everyone anyway. And first thing I would do is I'd get out of the bed, and we had all our cats would follow me because they knew it was, time to eat. They would follow me into my daughter's room where I would feed her fish, and then they would all follow me into the kitchen so they could eat. Well, that morning I got up, no cats under my feet. So I'm kind of looking around. I thought, where are they at? So I walked in my daughter's room. She's sound asleep. I feed the fish, and I'm still looking around for cats. And I'm thinking, I don't know where they're at. We had 5 at least. So I'm kind of looking around. I'm looking into the room. I'm walking down the hallway, and no cats anywhere. Now I'm really wondering what's going on. Anyway, I get into the kitchen. Every cabinet, door, and drawer, and we had a huge kitchen, was open. And I went, Denise, come out here and check this out. She comes out there. She goes, crap. I said, oh, you know something about this? And she goes, yeah, I think it might have something to do with what I saw just a little bit ago. And I said, okay, well, we need to tell them to get the hell out, because I think they were trying to intimidate us from going out there.
The thing is everybody had something happen. It wasn't just us. It was the film crew. There were some of them were in Seattle. They had things happen. Joe Citrone had stuff happen. Richard Grund down here in Florida had something happen. Another guy had stuff that happened as well in Kansas City area. So it's like, okay, now what is wrong? With this. So it is at that point, Ron goes, you got to get rid of this. So I had to go through, and I believe in clearing. I cleared it.
I knew it was going to be a very interesting week.
I wonder, and that's the one I said that followed me home. All I did was research on this thing. Like, not a thing, it was a person. But I just researched it for like a month and knew everything about it. And it's like it traces energy lines and knows everybody involved and just does what it wants that way.
I'm going to try and put the picture. I don't know how.
I was going to say.
Okay, no thanks.
Denise,
No,
is this
thanks.
the same book that we got here? Yes,
No.
it is.
I said that.
Yep.
That's the same one.
No,
Yep.
thanks.
We
Same
all
book.
signed each other's copies. I mean,
That's correct.
That was our new kitty cat. This one flew.
What was that thing?
I don't know, but the guy who did the illustrations for the book,
She just told
Adam
me.
Tillery.
Yeah, she
Adam
just told
Tillery,
me
yep,
it looked
yep.
like.
Yeah, he lives in Kansas City, and he's a friend of ours. In fact, one of the first public investigations we went on was with him and his brother and the rest of Creeps. And so I sent him a message, and I said, hey, this is what I saw. And I wrote it all up. I mean, it was burning in my memory to make sure that I told somebody what it looked like. And he was able to do that. And of course, it was a sketch, so there was no color. So, you kind of have to envision, each one of these holes is red and everything around it's, burnt skin, and the fingernails, I told him was really long.
He drew it to what you said, exactly what it looked like.
And,
Nope.
So needless to say, when the time came, the story that I did, I was supposed to be at this point in time, when they asked for these to be sent in, I was supposed to be with Nick, and I think you were supposed to go to the Ash Bash that year in 2018.
Yeah.
And I was in the hospital with the collapsed lung at that time.
Yep.
I remember.
You're on our way out the door.
You know that you said that. I mean, now I can remember that clear as day. Yeah, we were supposed to go out, and for us, that wouldn't have been that far. You know, for me and Tom, in that case, because Ashmore was only about 3.5 hours south, so it wouldn't have been that big of a drive for us to get down. But yeah, after when you had to go to the hospital, it kind of postponed and canceled the original plans.
The thing is so we have a plan this year. We have a plan this year to go to Ashmore.
We've been there twice, but we've also planned like 3 trips there too, and they fell through. Two
have happened. 3 have had issues.
Yeah.
So we've got to make it this time, because, you know, Susan really wants to see us and we want to see her. You know, like I said, we love it here. We miss it there. Yeah. And so I want to make sure that we get up there to see them. And it was such a nice thing for them to purchase the night at Ashmore for all of us just to hang out, you know, someplace closer than driving all the way to Springfield, Missouri.
Right. Yeah.
So.
Yeah. When they said the 26th of October, I thought they were kidding. I was like, there's no way that thing's booked a year in advance.
But what's strange is that this collapsed lung thing, when we had gone up to see Nick and Tom at Spook
Show Con.
Spook Show Con, yeah. So we went to that in Mattoon. It was the only time it was held in Mattoon because they couldn't have SilCon that year.
That's correct.
So we all went out for that, and you guys had to take Jeff back to the airport, Jeff Mudgett back to the airport, so you guys couldn't stay with us and go out to Ashmore. We're at Ashmore, and right after we get done walking through the place, and the lady goes, "Oh, you guys can go off on your own for a little while." And I get scratched.
Jeez.
And then, of course, 6 weeks later, I'm in the hospital with a collapsed lung. So me and Ashmore, we have a love-hate relationship.
You've been scratched at hundreds of places we've been to, but that one there looked like, it was down in the basement where the guys, the workshop
in the boiler room,
what they call it, the workshop or the boiler room, where the guy had his tools and parts and everything. But that one looked like nails. Looked more like they took 3 nails and scratched her instead of fingernails.
Jeez. Yeah. So
she was out pretty quick.
Tom,
did you guys have anything bad happen during the filming or your production?
So during the production, during totality, when they were doing the filming, and the film was supposed to be called The Deep Darkness. Never happened, of course, but I mean, it did happen. It still could happen. I just don't know what happened to the footage at this point.
Well, they have it.
Yeah, they have it, but it hasn't seen the light of day. We'll just say that. So it was called The Deep Darkness. And during totality, Ron was outside with one of the camera guys, and I was inside with the team. And it was really strange, to be honest.
Yeah, outside as soon as it got dark, really, really quiet, and then crickets. And that was it. It was super quiet. I thought I might hear, people screaming or yelling or nothing, just crickets.
Inside the Sally house, on the other hand, it was loud. There was, not from us, the spirits were just really loud. I got pushed down the stairs. I heard they got some really good footage. I didn't see what they got. What I did see,
they got some great pictures.
Joe sent me some pictures, or showed me some pictures on site that morning before the eclipse.
Man.
From, there's a house next door that was actually owned by the same family. And he took a picture. And as soon as he showed it to me, I said, this is, told him who it was.
Yeah, it's
and
really
I pulled
good.
up a picture and I showed him the picture. And he's like, they are the same.
Yeah.
Well, then he has this thing, and I don't know how it happens, but he gets pictures of orbs, and in there you can see faces. And in one of these orbs, there were like 8 to 10 faces. Okay. So that was interesting in itself. So we go through the totality thing. We do some pictures, say goodbye, do some hugging, and we go down and get stuck in some traffic, leaving town.
Oh, did we do the sit down interview? Was that
was the night before?
That was the night before.
And
yeah, we did a sit down interview, and Richard and Joe were asking us questions, and he goes, "So you know why we're here?" And Denise says, "I have a feeling I know why." And I said, "You're here to film a movie?" And he says, "No, we're actually here to clear this entity that's in here." And I started laughing. I'm like, yeah, well, that's been tried thousands of times. You know that, right? And that's when Richard, he's a rabbi, goes, that's because they know why we're here. We've been on their side. Not anymore. They know why we're here, and we're getting rid of them. And I went, what? I didn't even know that. I had no idea. And that's when they both, I knew Joe was on the other side too, but I didn't know Richard's story. And I thought, hell, you can make a movie out of that,
between their two.
You would have never guessed this guy was on the other side.
Yeah.
I mean, at all.
Neither
you
one.
Never would. No, neither one. Super nice guys. And I said, well, okay. And he said, yeah, we know, we've been on the other side. We know what it's like, and we know how to deal with them. And I said, well, good luck tonight. And they did their thing. They filmed it. I'd love to see it myself, because I'd like to know what they did. But when we went back, because we were still tour guides at Sally House, we went back a couple weeks later. The place it didn't even have the same smell. There was, you'd have dead bugs.
You missed part of it.
What?
The day after.
Oh, the day after. I'll let you tell that part.
Yeah. So we're out of sync a little here.
That's all right. But when we went back, there was the smell. There had that musty smell all the time. I mean, in the middle of winter, you'd have flies covering the windows
inside. In
the middle of winter, you'd have wasps down in the basement, the coldest part of the house. Wasps.
Oh, jeez.
Flying around
in December.
In the middle of winter. You don't see wasps in the middle of winter, but they're all over the place down there.
Not in Kansas anyway.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, we had like 3 or 4 cans of wasp killer, we had to just sitting down there just to spray these things. There's just how many there were. But you'd have all these bugs in the middle of winter. I mean, it had a musty smell. It had that old house smell. I mean, real old house. When we went back, that smell was gone. There were no bugs anywhere. I use the Echo Box. I mean, Carl's he's in the comments. The Echo Box is always active. I mean, there's some days where there's not very active in the house. It just happens. But when it's really active, you get a lot of, they would talk to you. But we went in there. I couldn't get anything. I mean, nothing. I told Denise, I said, this is so boring. I said, I didn't want to. I said, why are we here? Because this is just a regular house now. We were there the 4 hours. We went back 2 more weeks after that. It was so boring. I said, I didn't want to. I said, I don't want to do this no more, because I said, this is boring.
So
it's just, there was nothing in it. They cleared it out. Whatever was in there.
Did they have permission from the owners to do that?
The owner does not. He's hands off.
Oh, okay.
But they did tell the Chamber of Commerce, who handles that's what they were filming there and what their plans were.
Well, a lot of people go in there to film. They probably didn't go into detail.
They told them that what they were planning on doing, but they were like him. They were skeptical and said,
thousands of people have tried it. You know.
And so it,
Right.
it doesn't matter, if you're not there. I mean, just because they tell you you can't do it, you tell me how many people actually listen.
True.
If it's not being filmed, they're not going to tell you, I guess. But in the case of what happened with us, was that night we went home after the eclipse.
Yeah.
And we had tornadoes and hail and storms all night because of the, it getting cool in August all of a sudden, and then getting warm again. So we had all kinds of storms, and it was pouring down rain. We had a flash flood warning in our town, and it was dark on the west side of the room, but bright on the east side of the room. Or no, it was dark on the east side and bright on the west side. Shouldn't have been. There should not have been any light over there. It was 5 o'clock in the morning, and it was bright as day and loud. There was a lot of chatter. He's sleeping. He doesn't hear it. I wake up, and there's all these people in my bedroom standing there just chattering away. And here's a spirit. Her name was Agnes Finney True. Saw her hundreds of times, and in all the times that we were out there. It was her house. The Sally house was her house. She grew up in it, and she lived there as an adult as well. She's standing there. She hushes everybody up, and she says, "Thank you, goodbye," and off they all went. So when we got there 3 weeks later to do the tours, and there's nothing, we're not shocked, because we already know that whatever they did,
it worked.
And I said, "What time did you guys get done?" And they said it was about 5 o'clock in the morning. So it's one of those strange things that happen.
Yeah, I mean,
that you can't explain.
They came to say goodbye.
They thanked me. But I told Ron, I said, there was a reason that from 1996 to that day,
years,
that I was obsessed with everything Sally House. Everything I did every single day was find something out about the Sally House, something out about Atchison. I would look up books, any mention of any book.
Yeah, we
didn't
live down the street from this place. We're 90 miles away from it, and we're up there all the time.
So,
in fact, a lot of people that lived up there said, "Why don't you just move up here? You're here every weekend anyway." So
yeah, and I was like, "No, there's no jobs." And Kevin, we do take questions when they're legitimate questions, and we do talk about the paranormal.
Yeah, I was gonna say, if we don't think we're talking about paranormal, do you watch? You must watch Ghost Adventures, because that's not.
You're also on the wrong show, because we talk about everything. Yep. So coming on here and acting a fool.
Well, I mean, if they're used to, Ghost Adventures crap, then yeah, I guess this isn't paranormal. But
yeah, you don't come on somebody's
just real stuff.
You just leave the show. That's all you need to do. Just
bye.
But like I said, if you ask a question and you want us to answer it, please ask it, and we'll answer it. So
there's no need to be rude whatsoever.
Definitely not.
But yeah, like I said, I've been seeing spirits for 54 years at this point. I know, and I only look like I'm 29. How did that happen? I don't know. But 54 years of seeing spirits. And, at this point in time, unless it's something that stands out in my memory, it's everyday stuff.
Right.
So it has to be extraordinary for me to remember.
Right.
She actually sees spirits. I don't. I can kind of sense them. I kind of feel that they're around. I kind of know when something's going to go up. But I've seen shadow figures, heard conversations, and no one's in the room. Things like that.
So I have a question for you. Since you've done this all your life, this is new to me. And maybe you can tell me why this would happen, or what they, if you've had this happen, what the outcome was, because I'm not understanding what is going on. Of course, I don't see them with my eyes. It's more with my brain that I know they're right there.
Yeah. Heard that.
There was a guy by my freezer one day. Don't know where he came from. not part of the family. Because I asked my in-laws, I'm like, and they said, no, nobody like that. He had a plaid shirt on, like a farmer. He had red hair and red short stubble all over. Young man, maybe in his 20s, early 30s. And I knew immediately. He didn't say nothing. I mean, I didn't hear anything in my head. All I knew. He was looking for his wife and either unborn child or newborn child. And just disappeared. Like he put that thought there and just disappeared. I'm like, well, about 2 weeks later, I was turned facing my husband and he's on the other side of me. I didn't even turn over, but he looked different. Same guy, no, he was shaved at that point and just had a little bit right here and same shirt. Didn't say anything and just left. What on earth? I'm like, tell me something. Tell me how to help you because I don't understand what you're doing.
Do what I did. Tell him to go to where the people are that love him.
I'm just like, I don't know. Tell me what I need to do to help you because you're just.
That's all you can do because since you don't know who he is or any of his history, all you can do is
somebody that used to live there. Who knows?
Unless maybe when it was farmland.
Yeah, there's been one of the ranchers out there. I mean, when it was, everybody ran out there getting land, in Kansas and Colorado,
Yeah.
What time period would you say he was from?
He almost looked like maybe 60s because it was like the button-up shirt and the plaid shirt, button-up, but blue jeans. You could tell he was a working man. It was just so strange. I'm like, but then one of my friends did get, I don't know how much stock I take in the spirit box, but what they got, they did an Estes method, which I like a whole lot better if somebody cannot hear the questions.
Right.
But they were saying somebody fell down in a well and this man was trying to help somebody get out of the well. It was a child that fell in the well. That's all we got out of it. So I don't know of any well around here. So, I really don't know.
Well, then that would have been probably prior to the 60s, possibly.
Yeah.
Maybe, well, we still had a well in Virginia in the 80s. So it's hard to say.
It actually, it could have been something nearby you and you're the closest one. Yeah, you're the closest one that he can communicate with.
Like, Lassie, tell me where Timmy is.
Yeah, and that's what it felt like when she was telling me that. And I'm like, I don't know. I mean, we have the history of this house. It was built in 1908. And all but just a few years of it has all been family, my husband's family. So we've had people die on the couch upstairs. Somebody came home, years ago and knew they had cancer and they died there. They were here to die. I'm fine with that. That's perfectly fine. I guess it would be my mother-in-law's father died here. Perfectly fine. I think we had more dead people at our wedding than we did living people. I'm perfectly fine with that. Every time I walk by, the living room or the dining room, hi, Aunt Pearl. Never met her in my life. I don't know who she is, but I know she's right there.
Hey, good news is I did meet my Aunt Pearl, and I know exactly what she looks like when I see her.
Yeah, I mean, I've never seen this woman.
But you knew who she was.
Yeah, and I know where she stands, and I told Mom about it. She said, cabinets keep slamming back there. Why are you in the kitchen back there? Wouldn't I see you come? I'm not here, Mom. And she said, your Aunt Pearl. So then she starts talking to Aunt Pearl. I'm like, great. Bye. I'm out of here now. But, I'm used to that. But this strange person, I'm like, what is going on here?
Like I said, your best and easiest way is just tell him to go to where the people are who love him. He may just be lost. And they can feel the love
Sounds like you better do it pretty quick because he disappears real fast, doesn't he?
He does, and I hate that because I want to help him.
Right.
I don't see him that often. That's not an everyday thing for me. So when they do, I figure they're really needing help if they're trying that hard to see me.
Like I said, that's probably the easiest solution to the problem without being rude to them, because
right. No,
they may not know that you're not the person who loves him.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, when Denise sees spirit, she said, and we've talked to other mediums, and they've had the same thing, that she sees. Sometimes you say you can't even tell if they're actually a spirit or a real person. But she said the only difference she can tell them apart is they don't have any feet. Everything else she sees, she doesn't see any feet. And we've talked to other mediums, they said the same thing.
So a lot of times when I'm looking at somebody, I'm checking out to see if they have feet.
And Sean says he still hears voices and sometimes sees things at his job. My first thought is, do you work at Walmart? Because Denise says Walmart's the worst place.
I hear that too. I have heard people say that too, and they will come home with you from Walmart.
I don't know if they came home.
I won't let them do that.
I know it's funny. I know we have a haunted Walmart. I don't think it's in the Chicago area. I think it's somewhere like central Illinois.
Every Walmart is haunted.
Well, no, I mean,
that's the worst.
Well, no. I mean, like, from what I remember learning at a young age was a haunted Walmart. But now I'm starting to think that there's more haunted Walmarts around.
When we lived in Kansas, and
they say people bring their spirits. I think that's what it is.
Yeah, your spirits go with you everywhere in most cases. But
why Walmart?
But because they figure there's a light there, I guess. But I'll go walking down an aisle, and sometimes there's the green mist, but that's a whole different problem. And I'll walk down the aisle, and behind me, stuff will fall off the shelves when I'm about 6 feet away.
Yeah.
And people think I'm doing it.
Oh.
And it's like, I didn't do it. And I mean, I've seen bread fly 4 feet.
Wow.
And hit the other side of the aisle. So that would be 6 feet. And
I've heard stuff fall behind her, but I just thought she was throwing stuff off the shelf.
Yeah. I mean, I do have a tendency to put stuff back in places where it doesn't belong, but that's only for employee Easter egg hunts. I think they enjoy those. Don't go to Walmart with me.
I have heard that, Walmart is shopping malls in general. I don't know why. I guess the energy from other people, they want to interact. They want to be seen. Of course, I don't see that. So like I said, if I see something, it has got to be something that's really wanting to be seen.
Well, what's really bad is that, they may show me themselves and tell me stuff, but I'm not walking up to the lady with the cart with the 4 kids to say, hey, your grandma's here and she thinks the kids are great, but this one needs a spanking. I ain't going to tell them that.
Nope.
Nope. And I'm not going to tell them anything. I am not Teresa Caputo. I've never claimed to be, and I never will be.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I am going to respect your privacy as much as I possibly can. But the good news is if I do get a message and somebody wants to hear it, for some reason I can tell when they want to hear it.
Right.
And I'll tell them. Right. And I've left Walmart with hugs.
You have every now and then.
I got a hug yesterday. Not even for telling anybody anything other than that their grandchild was beautiful.
Yeah.
Just randomly got a hug. And I looked at the lady and she was only like 4'11". Okay. She's shorter than me. I'm only 5'3". So there's not many people shorter than me. And I told her, I said, did I look like I needed a hug? She goes, no, I just wanted to give you one. And I think it's because of the type of person, I guess I have written on my forehead that says, tell me your life story. I need to hear it.
Empaths give that off. I get that too. The empaths give that off. But, the maybe I'm not ready. Maybe I'm not ready for everything I think I'm ready for.
I tell you, it's hard because, there's so many things that you have to let go when you allow it to come in. But there's also all this control that you have to take. You have to take over control of every situation. Otherwise, you have somebody sitting in the bathroom with you that's not your spouse.
I have had that happen. That's
I know I'm trying to be funny, but it's true.
Yeah, it's not okay. It's really not.
No. And I mean, there are times when having somebody in your bathroom is exactly what you want. And I know that, but that's not one. That's not one.
No, I wouldn't think.
It's bad. I don't want the cat in the bathroom when I'm in there. So that's some of the things you have to keep in mind, is that with the good comes the bad.
Yeah.
Right.
I've had spirits in my car trying to talk to me from the back seat, so that, because you can't really keep turning to talk to them, but they want you to look at them, and
you cannot do that.
and you can't sit there and stare at the thing so you can see them, but they'll sit in the back seat of the car and talk to me, and I'm sitting there going, I can't focus on you right now. I got to drive.
Right.
And so you really have to have your mind about you at all the times. Yeah, the ghosts at Walmart also make.
Yeah, they do that to us.
That's too much money. Well, that happens. I'm just going to say, well, that happens a lot too when we go to casinos, Tom. So no doubt the casinos are haunted as well.
Well, those are the ones at the casino are the gangster ghosts that.
Yep.
Yeah. But I will suggest that if you ever get a chance and they still have the gangsters and ghost tours in Kansas City, I heard they were really good. We've been downtown in that area, and I hear it's a really good tour.
Well, ironically enough, I don't know if you guys have heard this. So, and they've been advertising this now since the Michigan Paracon ended. There's a new type of Paracon that's supposed to happen, happening in a relatively unusual time of the year, from February 28th to March 1st. They're having something called the Missouri Paracon, which they're going to have in Kansas City. And I honestly, other than knowing a few people that are supposedly attending, I don't know very many details. But if given the chance of going to, in this case, Kansas City for the Missouri Paracon, not a bad idea to try to go on one of those tours during that time. But again, especially, I'm not sure really how many people are going to want to come out.
End of February?
Yeah, they're having it from February 28th to March 1st. I thought that's kind of a strange, unusual
what
time.
state?
That's a real bad time.
Kansas City, Missouri.
Yeah.
You could have anything by...
Not okay. There's ice,
rain, snow, really, really cold.
Exactly. It's like you think, how many people?
Yeah,
I get that, because just like with any, that's the other thing too. I get that this is basically
175.
Yeah, the prices are insane.
Wow.
And, I get the guys that are putting this together. It's their first Paracon they're trying to put together.
It's not. It's not their first.
Who is it?
Oh, so I didn't hear about that actually. So that's new for me.
She shut it down before I could look.
No, it's Jason.
Oh yeah, he's done hundreds.
Yeah, he started the Kansas City. He started the Kansas City Paracon.
Is it downtown? I'm sure. Yeah.
It's the bad part is that time of year we could get. Back in the day, you could get
weather-wise. That's horrible.
Yeah, that's not going to bring a lot of people out to this Paracon because
they're looking for the local.
Not that time of year.
And hell, they got Amy Bruni coming, but she's out that way all the damn time.
Yeah.
So it's at the Ameristar Casino. That's why I knew who was doing it.
See, I'm with you guys on that too. That's during the time of year that we really don't travel that much. It's unless if it's a local event, within the city of Chicago, we don't start going out to the stuff again until late March or at very least early April. So that's kind of an unusual time to have a Paracon.
Yeah, we never did plan anything in January or February unless somebody came in, booked a Sally House for an overnight, and the weather was halfway decent. Then we would go up there. But that was it. That's about it.
March would be the earliest we could do anything, and it was near the end of March. But that's the good thing about living here is
we can do stuff year round. It's not a big deal.
So only thing I got to make sure is that we got pants in case it's below 30.
See, I say this.
Happen often.
Where is this?
I literally say this. It's become an annual thing for me to even say this because once we get into obviously either at the end of October or like at the very least early to mid-November, maybe, because every now and then sometimes we still go to at least one or two more Paracons before, the Thanksgiving and holiday season arrive. I always say that after this, the season's usually pretty much just about over for us then.
Yeah.
The annual thing I always say is, well, now we're going to have to wait till like late March or early April before the paranormal road trip season really returns. That won't necessarily stop us from like doing investigations again if they're local, or again if there's a local Paracon. But for the most part, we just don't start up again until late March or early April.
It's just not safe, especially you guys going across 80.
No.
Yeah.
Or across 36. I mean, you would probably go across 36 to get to Kansas City.
At this point, I would just say it's just not worth the risk, and it's just not sure as hell not worth the price.
Yeah, and add in the fact that you get added frustration if you take Interstate 70 with them trying to expand it between St. Louis and Columbia.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's even worse. There was, I can't remember who told me this, and she actually said this to me during the Michigan Paracon. I think it was a couple individuals who said that the people that are putting this together and the vendors involved, like, they're only going to maybe save on a few of the names that are going to be there. Like, they don't have to pay a full price, but everybody else that's got to have a vendor table, they say they got to pay for it themselves. They got to pay for the hotel rooms. I mean, the combination of the price was like unbelievable. I think last time I heard, I could be wrong, but last time I thought I heard it was going to be like $1,500, like for everything.
For a vendor?
For a vendor?
Not just the vendor, like the room and anything else that they have.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Okay.
The only thing that got going. What?
You guys all go to Paracons. I don't, but
you went to Fear Fest, but yeah.
I actually got
to go there.
We were going to quite a few, and after I went to so many, I told Denise, I said, we're gonna do this. I said, you pick 2 a year, and that's all we're going to.
Right. So
I didn't enjoy them that much.
From the ones you guys,
certain people I'd meet.
Right, and that's it. It's the meeting people.
Yeah.
So let's say somebody's going to put on a Paracon, and you don't invite, $1,500, $2,000 a night guests to speak.
Right.
So what I'm going to tell you is they're not really Paracons; they're drama cons.
Yeah.
And so I helped with Spook Show Con with Tom and Nick's dad. They were there. We helped with that. I helped with the paranormal haunting history Paracon in Joplin.
That was a great one, but he only did one and done.
Yeah, we also did one in Marshalltown, Iowa, where they ran me ragged. And
that was one of the best Paracons that we've been to, and that was it, one and done.
Yeah, we haven't been
not doing it again.
We haven't been to any more. Well, we did go to one last year.
It's a lot of work.
We went to the Pensacola.
And most of them
Paracon
usually lose money.
Yeah, we went to the one in Pensacola, and we're going to one next weekend. We were volunteering, but I had to back out of volunteering for health reasons, and so we're going to go because I realized that as a volunteer, we were going to have to pay for our hotel room for at least 2 nights. And
but we wouldn't be able to visit.
We wouldn't be able to visit at all. And every time I've been a guest at a Paracon, it's been, don't give me a table, give me stuff to do, and let me walk around and visit with people.
Right.
I have nothing to sell. I just want to talk and visit.
The one time they gave us a table and we were stuck there.
Yeah.
That was no fun.
But that's where I met so many nice people. And some of these Paracons are really good. They're put together well. They have the people, but then you have the person that walks in the door that sucks all the air out of the room and makes everybody wonder why they came.
Yep. Yep.
And
So,
it only takes one when you feel it.
yep. That's, yeah.
Well,
So my thinking is,
go ahead, Adrian. Go ahead.
I'm thinking, because we have an opportunity that I can't say anything about just yet. But my thinking is, I'm not inviting anybody that's going to charge. I'm going to put it that way.
Exactly. I wouldn't either.
Right. And when we were helping with some of these Paracons, we wanted to go to one last year before we bought the house. And the guy ended up being in the hole quite a bit.
Mm-hmm.
Had to take out a loan, some other things. And I said, you need to find people who want to speak that will get there on their own dime.
Yeah.
Do it out of the goodness of their heart, as opposed, because it's usually for a charity. It's not usually to make a bunch of cash.
Right.
It's usually for a charity. And that's what I told them. I said, if you can't find people that want to do it out of the goodness of their heart and for a charity, then you don't need those people.
No.
And I had told him at the time, I said, if I could have come, we would have, but we were in the middle of trying to move. And I said, the next time you have it, I said, I'll speak, I'll come. And you don't have to pay anything for me. Just let me walk around and visit with people and let me talk. That's it.
Right.
I don't ask for much. Let me help you. I mean, if you want me to help out, I'm great at organization. So
what I'd like to do is the people that, are on our show, the ones that we have spoken to that we know are legit, ask them. Now I do have to put a disclaimer out. I did do a Paracon at one point. It was called Fear Fest. I was helping. Anyway, I do have to give a shout out to Mustafa.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh my God, he's great.
He's one of the few of them that I like.
Yeah, we actually liked him.
The man, not by my doing. The man got stiffed.
Yep.
I'm going to say
Not
that.
the only one. I'm sorry to say that, but it happens more frequently.
When I could just throw this out, and Tom would agree with me on this. Well, actually, Jeremy could too, because he was part of this as well. It was when we had DeadCon in Fort Wayne, Indiana, and they had Destination Fear and the Ghost Hunters there, and they never got their pay that they were supposed to. And there was, I still, even 3 years later, I still don't know the full story.
I hate it.
It happens.
It happens a lot,
more frequently than you think.
There's a lot of people in this field that are.
It happened in Vegas as well.
Yeah. Yes, I did. I did know that. But Mustafa was awesome.
It was
Mustafa goes, okay. He said, whatever I was supposed to get, give it to the location. That's what he said.
Yeah, that sounds like him.
Doing his part, regardless. I have respect for that man.
Yeah.
Because he has nothing to prove.
No, absolutely he does not. But he proved everything he needed to by doing that.
Yeah, he was actually one of the few that we liked on that show.
Him and Brandon.
Yeah, we liked them too. The rest,
I didn't get.
Well, two of them we knew personally and couldn't stand. So, not going to go there.
He gave us the time of day.
Huh?
I have yet to have met Brandon. I've spoken to him a few times, like just through Messenger, but I've never actually met him personally or face to face.
I haven't either. I'm just going based on what I've seen. I don't go based on anything I've heard in most cases because, everybody has an opinion. It's kind of like, as my mom always said, everybody has an asshole and some of them stink.
Yeah.
So opinions are the same way. Everybody has one and they're not always the best. So you have to make your own opinions. And I want to say hi to Crystal. Love you, sweetheart.
Oh, that's who that is. Okay.
It's my cousin. Yeah.
Okay.
In Colorado.
Yep. She's near Aurora.
Ironic is that, Adrian?
I have family everywhere. So does he.
Jeremy says
Jeremy could say a few things, I'm sure.
I know. And the thing is that's why I said a lot of these should be called drama cons as opposed to paracons or paracomicons or whatever. But I do think some of the better ones are a mix of paranormal and other things put together, to where you're not just drawing in the one type of person, because you'll find out that in the paranormal, people have multiple interests that may draw them in for multiple things. Like when we went to this Paracomic-Con here in Pensacola, what was nice about it is they had animals, little alligator, some other things. Our granddaughter got to hold a spider. They had an astronomer there, as well as the Texas Wraith Chasers. And, my good friend Kat was there, and the ghost hunting housewives, but there was also, get this, there was also a salesman for gutters, and we needed gutters on our house.
Oh, that's ironic.
Not his.
We didn't get his. But we did have him come out. We never even got that gift card they promised. But, I still talked to him, and
his were gold plated.
But I did make friends.
Gold plated price
with these people that they're hypnotists, and they're really interesting, and they live down here in Fort
Yeah,
Wayne.
we actually had them on. They were really good.
Yeah, and they have their own business, and we're still friends, and we still talk and everything, him and his wife. And that's the reason that I go to Paracons.
Yeah.
Is to make friends with new people. And that's why we're going to this one, the Deep South Paracomic-Con over here in Ozark, Alabama on Saturday or Sunday next week. And they have got some really good people coming to it. And like I said, that was the reason that we wanted to volunteer. We wanted to meet Letriana Terry Brown. We want to meet Jeremy.
A lot of people in this area, and they can tell us, some hot locations to go to.
And then on top of that, we're starting our own series of meetups here in Milton. I'm calling it the
next week.
Yep, the Milton Paranormal Meetup, MPM. And what's funny is that I shared it in our HOA Facebook, and some of our neighbors are interested in coming.
Yeah, well, you'll find out there's a lot of people that have had paranormal experiences, but they don't know who that they can trust to talk about it.
Right. Yep.
And when we put it out there like that, it's like, hey, come on out. You talk about, your experience. We're not going to go, whoa, you're crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah. What's funny is that, like, ironically, when I go to these Paracons, especially the ones out of state or out of town, obviously, yes, just like I wear my vest wherever I go. Although, but of course, now you guys have seen, I got a uniform now that I put together. Even when I stop at like gas stations, we got to fill up. First off, honestly, I really don't bring the vest with me because you never could tell who you're gonna run into at gas stations. But the uniform will stay on. So maybe I'll just go either to use the washroom or grab a snack or something, or if we're stopping somewhere to eat. And every once in a while, you have that one person that comes up to you saying, are you really into paranormal stuff? I'm like, yes, I am. And they'll come up and tell me these stories. So like what you guys just said, people don't know the exact person. So when they see someone like myself with a uniform or the vest on, people know exactly who to come up to and tell their stories about.
Yeah. But see, in my case, it's that little sign on my head that says, tell me everything.
My intention is to, let's say we charge $25 a ticket. And all the guests, whatever. I mean, they don't even need to be guests. We can just have people come up and tell their stories that are there. It doesn't matter to me.
Right.
And, or somebody who can teach something, do a little psychic session, whatever their specialty is, they want to do it, have at it, whatever. But all the money. Now, the people that put it together, okay, maybe pay for their gas there. The rest of the money goes to location. If you're not at a location, give it to a location that you enjoy, or whatever the case might be. But that's my goal. Whether it's going to work, I don't know.
Well, as long as you know what, people do things for a lot less, okay?
Mm-hmm.
But if they think that they're giving to a charitable organization, they're going to be more than willing to help. I mean, I think that that's the reason why Ash Bash and the Gettysburg Battlefield Bash do so well, is because they're going after charities that are after our own hearts, children and disabled.
Right.
Military veterans. Ron is a veteran of the military, and sometimes, and here in our area, I mean, half the people we live around are either active military or retired military.
Right.
So,
yeah,
you think that they've got everything that they need, but they don't. And that's the scary part. But like I said, if you tell people up front what your goal is, 9 times out of 10, they're going to agree with you 100%.
Right.
But I'll tell you, the one thing I have found is if you're charging vendors for tables to get in there, if you have the guests come in and the guests have to pay too to get in, they're not going to spend any money with the vendors, and the vendors are already down $100 for their table.
Right.
Yeah. See, one thing I don't want to do is charge for vendors.
See, and that's who I was, again, that's actually who I was speaking with a few times with some of the vendors at Michigan. Like, unless like it was certainly like a real reasonable price, they're not going to spend that much on them.
I don't blame them.
I don't
blame them either. I couldn't
How
agree
much
with
did they charge?
I was like $150 a table sometimes.
Yeah, it was.
That's not bad for a table. But so when we went to the Paracon out here in Pensacola, it was $10 a person per day. Okay. So I didn't feel like I had already spent my whole life.
You didn't feel like you're wiped out, you're tapped out before you walked in the
price
door.
of a table, as long as it isn't crazy.
Oh, God damn it, Tom.
So tell me, what is a decent price for a table?
Between 100 and 100, well, 75 and 150, depending upon your area and how big this table is. Sometimes you can take the table and half it. This person gets this 4 feet and this person gets this 4 feet, or it's a 6 foot table. It depends on how big your table is. And from what I understand from the one here, she had different size tables and she charged a different rate for each one. So if somebody wanted, say, a corner that had, that they were going to have 2 8-foot tables, well, she charged them for 2 8-foot spots.
Right.
Yeah. That actually makes sense.
Yeah, if they're a vendor and they got to spend, $500, they're already down $500 plus whatever the gas and everything to get there.
Yep.
And
so they feel like they're already in the hole and they got to sell something.
Oh, and that's basically like what I was saying before. I mean, like when I found out the prices again of vendor tables for like this Missouri one, I was actually talking with Larry Eisler and Jenny Davis. They were the ones who actually brought the prices up because they were looking it up. And when they told me just the price for that alone, I couldn't believe it. It was like, I said it was like $1,500. Well, just for the vendor table, it was $400.
Yeah. And then you're staying you have to stay there at the venue because your stuff's downstairs.
Yep.
And that's a casino, and the casino will charge it up on the weekends. It's more expensive. Right. And the only good thing you got, you know what? That's right near the basketball season when they're getting ready to do all the.
Just before March Madness.
Yeah, it's just before March Madness.
They could have a big.
The NAIA.
The Big 12 tournament.
Yeah, that happens in Kansas City.
That'll be a week after,
but yeah, the NAIA is also there at times. So the only good thing they got going for you is that there's no football game and there's no NASCAR at that time to really hike up the rates.
Yeah, the Chiefs would already won the Super Bowl by then anyway, so I'll have to worry about that.
The Chiefs are not going to the Super Bowl again.
I hope they do, because I don't want to hear the end of it if they don't.
I'm tired. Okay, so I'm going to say this.
Oh, somebody's going to give us a damn score, and I'm taping it. So
We don't. Yeah, don't tell us what the score is.
Yeah, just
but we moved out of Kansas City, and I thought, thank God I don't have to hear all those damn Mahomes commercials in Hy-Vee anymore. And what do? They start playing them on. Our daughter gets a job at Subway, and all these damn Subway commercials with Mahomes on it. And then you got all these, I can't stand Kelsey, but I also can't stand Taylor Swift. But that's a whole different ball game, and I'm just tired of it. I'm tired of the football drama.
The buck tooth.
He's from Oklahoma. She was a nasty little heifer when she first got her fame, and she was nasty toward her hometown. And I have no respect for that.
Who is this again?
Taylor Swift.
Oh, Taylor Swift. Okay.
I don't think she can sing at all.
I'm ashamed to admit it. I'm just going to throw it out. I actually did see her, but like on stage, but that was not my intention actually, because it was at a Rolling Stones concert that over 10 years ago, and she showed up out of nowhere. Like nobody.
Was she 15?
Was she opening?
No. This was consider it was back in 2013. I don't remember exactly how many songs it had been while the Stones were playing, but she had only came out for one song, sang with Mick Jagger, and then after that, she left the stage and never came back.
That's okay. There's nothing wrong with that.
I've never really been a big fan of her either, to be honest.
Wait a minute.
Rolling Stones.
I saw the Rolling Stones on their final farewell tour in 1982. So how could that be possible?
I don't know.
Do they have more final farewell tours?
They constantly has one repeatedly.
I'm going to say this as for laugh. The Rolling Stones will be on tour forever. So when they die,
they'll still be touring.
Yes, they'll still be touring. And so just wait for them in your piece of heaven for the Rolling Stones to show up to do their farewell tour.
Yeah, that's pretty much about it.
And eventually it'll be time for everybody to meet up with Pamela Anderson.
I wonder how deflated her chest is at this point.
I was going to say, I don't hear anything about her anymore.
Pamela Anderson.
Is she dead?
No.
Oh.
Tommy Lee.
I know who she is.
Instead of having her face lift,
I was like,
did
she die? I didn't know that.
Her face is going down instead of up because of all the white hair.
Right.
You know what?
Yeah, me too. Yeah.
You know what I'm going to tell you is that I have not seen one lifeguard that looks like that.
No, me either.
Not one.
Nope.
Probably because you can't swim very easily.
You can float.
Maybe. I mean, I can float without that.
I never watched the show, so.
and again, I've also never seen David Hasselhoff at the beach either.
No, probably not. Is he still alive?
Last time I heard he was.
Okay, so I'm not as old as I think I am. Okay.
Hey, right?
That's good. That's good.
Yeah, Denise will throw out names of people that, I don't know. You've heard that game Dead or Alive? I used to have it on the radio, and they'd throw out somebody's name. You got a 50-50 shot, right?
Right.
How can I be wrong all the time? I cannot get those right. It's just.
I always think, okay, are they my age? If they are 5 years older, let's go dead.
He just read an article about Baywatch a couple days ago where they all just had a reunion.
Oh, I bet that was a sexy reunion.
You mean with their walkers and wheelchairs?
He flops them over that walker and carries them. She doesn't have to hold the weight anymore.
Who is he? I
don't know. Everything's dropped so far down.
Bob Newhart?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bob Newhart just died recently, and when somebody said something that I thought, that's a lie. I said he died 10, 15 years ago. She goes, no, just recently. I was like,
he did.
The thing is, I love Bob Newhart. I loved his.
He's great.
His straight-faced comedy.
I thought he died a long time ago.
He could say anything, and you'd sit there and go, "Oh,
Bikini wax job." Yep.
Bikini wax
That's right.
job.
Irene got that.
You know, okay, why am I drawing a blank now that I started talking?
because you got boobs on your brain."
That's standard equipment. The bikini wax job. Is
I never
standard
had
equipment
them,
for
so you know.
suits. Yeah.
Oh my God.
Suits,
Okay.
yes.
Yep.
Jeremy, I know you'll know what I'm thinking. Help me out here. The guy from England, him and his wife, he was a rock star. His son is now into the paranormal. What the fuck?
Ozzy. Ozzy.
Ozzy.
There we go.
Yes, yeah, I was gonna say, yeah.
Oh.
He was getting ready to do his tour.
Yeah.
And he has shut that down for a minute, but that whole family, I'm going.
Okay, so would you, with Ozzy's life, okay, this has been one of those things that, you know, you always wonder how somebody got famous, that somebody sold their soul to the devil, like quite possibly Taylor Swift.
Yeah.
But wouldn't you go with Ozzy over Taylor?
Yeah.
But then when
Yeah, I
you see
would.
Ozzy's still alive and you listen to Ozzy speak and all this other stuff, and you go, he never gave his soul to the devil. He is, that's just him.
He took the devils from him.
He did.
But yeah, I mean, I'll tell you,
I love Ozzy.
out of all the
He's great.
paranormal shows, I love the Osbournes Want to Believe.
I knew I was
Oh,
gonna say
yeah.
watch that show. I
do
love
like
that show.
I do like that.
Yeah.
I love
They're great.
Ozzy's. I love his skepticality, and especially his ball lightning.
I was about to
know.
go that out
But
too.
I
Ball
understand
lightning.
everything he says. I understand it all, and
Oh,
but I love the ball
I
lightning.
He's getting bad.
They used yeah, I know Ozzy. You can understand him singing, but when he's talking, that's different. Yeah, on the radio, they used to play clips of Ozzy on an interview, and they'd say, "Okay,
What did
the
I
first
say?
person who can call and tell us what Ozzy said, yeah, you win a car." People are
Yeah,
guessing all
yeah.
kinds of crap. They're like, "Nope, not even close."
And who'd have thought that Sharon?
Nobody could ever get it.
Who'd have thought that Sharon was the F-bomb every time?
Oh yeah, that's
I mean, how in the hell was she on daytime TV for years?
And
How in the hell did she not? Well, how did she keep from saying the F word with what she was doing on TV?
Yeah.
That's still the part that I'm still trying to figure out.
Sean.
But-
It was called the Woogie Boogie scale.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Woogie Boogie.
Now, I like them and the Brew Brothers. Now,
Oh yeah.
I do too.
Yeah.
And I got it.
Yep.
You know, I always used to tell people this. You remember when they had Ghosts in the Hood? It was on WE. I loved Ghosts in the Hood. And I told Ron, and they wore these velvet running
Oh, they were
suits.
funny.
They were hilarious. But I told Ron, I said, it's going to be somebody like the Ghost Brothers or
Yeah.
or Ghosts in the Hood that's going to show me a piece of paranormal evidence that I'm going to believe
That everyone's
wholeheartedly.
gonna go, whoa.
And everybody's going to go, that's it.
That's
That's it. And this is what we've been looking for, you know? And so far, I'm disappointed, but those are the kind of people that you see that are like Nick, that really love the paranormal and put their hearts into it. And you hope that they find something. You want them to do good.
Yeah.
And, you know, like Jeremy said something about para-unity a little bit ago. I believe in para-unity as far as I'm concerned. Do I believe other people believe in that? Sometimes I believe that.
Yeah.
But sometimes it's what's in it for them. What's in it for me is I want your friendship.
Yeah, right.
He wants your friendship. He wants you to have my friendship, so I'll leave him alone and quit dragging him places.
I heard the best thing, and I can't take credit for this, but I absolutely believe it. Somebody posted on Facebook the other day, and I wish I knew who it was. They said, you know, para-unity exists as long as you're not famous, or trying to get famous.
Right.
Yeah.
I believe they're right.
Oh, yeah.
You know,
Well,
those of us that don't give two shits about getting famous.
That's right.
You
See,
know,
that's the thing too. Like, again,
We're
I know.
famous amongst each other. That's it. That's all we need.
Well, see, that's
Is your husband in the paranormal?
No.
Okay,
He holds
see
the camera for me.
See, that is normal.
He holds the camera for me and he goes,
Yeah.
uh-huh. Okay,
Yep.
honey. And I'm like, he's like, you don't want me to answer. So he keeps me in check as far as what I'm seeing or what evidence I get. He's like, okay, what if this? And I'm like, okay.
How many couples do you know that are in the paranormal together? You could probably, on one hand, you could probably name
very well. Only a few.
I don't even know if we can name 5.
Oh, I can name 5.
Do we name 5?
I can name 5. Rhonda and Dwight Hole.
Susan and Mike.
Then add Shay and Grant.
But I mean, how many of the hundreds do we know?
Oh, yeah. It's probably 1%. We're 1%.
It's very rare.
Mm-hmm.
Except
that's why I asked you. I expected that answer of no.
The only other thing is that there are people who meet in the paranormal that get married.
Now, with him, I have to say I didn't scare him because we dated one time when I was in my early teens. I actually went to school with his cousin and his brother that were the same age, same class as me. He was the big brother that was unachievable,
Oh, okay, got it.
We dated one time. Took him 32 years to get another date. That's what he'll tell you. He's had 2 wives since. I've had husbands since. But we reconnected as, I was just seeing how he was doing, just trying to go back to my past because my present was shit.
Right.
And I said, I'm getting ready to do a Paracon. I'll come pick you up on the way. And he was like, okay. Not thinking a thing about it.
Yeah.
He probably didn't know what it was till he got there.
No, he did. But that night, something followed him home to the motel. Uh-oh. And he said, I heard you call my name. And I said, no, I did not. And he says, oh. So from then on, it's been, I'll tell him what I see. I'll tell him, I don't hide anything from him. But he's like, okay. He will always help me. He will never discourage me. But he does not know what he believes in at this point. I'll ask him, religious questions. And he's like, I don't know. Unless it's something's proven to me, I don't know. So I study all religions and I believe a little bit of everything. And I said, that's it. I do too. I believe there's something here. There's something here. There's something here. It came from somewhere. But never has he discouraged anything. And that's all I'm thankful for. He will never say, what are you doing? I do crystal healing. I can read pictures and get messages from pictures. Mm-hmm. He has never went, do you think you're just making that up?
He did that to me the other day.
On what?
Our son-in-law was showing us this place that he wants to go to in Mobile. And he shows me the picture and I go, that's haunted. And he goes, how do you know? And I said, I see a woman in there. And he goes, there's a whole bunch of people in there. He looked at it.
Picture on the website.
It was liquor bottles. I was like, but there's a woman standing right there back by them. And he's like, how do you see that? I said, I don't know. I said, I tell you that old theater, which is a bar. I didn't know it was a theater.
See, he did say Dave sold the Mineral Springs.
Dave didn't own the Mineral Springs Hotel. Somebody else owned it. He told me when I interviewed him that he was renting that space in there for his business. So I got his phone number. I can ask him. So, but yeah, I'm
not going to argue with Tom.
Nope. We'll probably check out the Mineral Springs.
Yeah, because we were just told that he sold it.
Yeah. Wow.
It was Tom that told. Tom's the one that said it.
See, and I'm going to just
somebody else said it.
No.
I'm just going to share this one real quick. What Irene said about how there's groups who, there are people who
about
their own, and that's something and I could certainly agree with that, because I also have come across a few of those. Believe it or not, it's some, like you guys called it, some of these paracons and drama cons, where there have been times that when I go to some of these paracons, I mean, like 95% of the time when I go out, like just like when I've met up with you guys, it's always great meeting new faces and familiar ones. We're all having a good time and whatnot. But every once in a while, and I'm not going to mention names, obviously, you're going to come across those ones, like you said earlier, where you have those bad apples. And there's one, like I said, I'm not going to say who, but there was one group that we actually knew really well. And just like any other group, we try to say hello to them, shake hands with them, whatever. And except for one team member who's happy to see us, everybody else, they just give us this blank stare or disgusted look, almost like as if we have no business being there or whatever. And all we're doing is just, saying how's things going. And, unfortunately, it was definitely one of those groups that, just only seem to care about their well-being and not anybody else. And that typical classic example of trying to get famous or whatever, versus like with what I've done. In fact, you guys probably remember I sent this in the group chat, but again, at Michigan, it was actually the very first day. I just happened to be walking around, and all of a sudden this guy comes up to me. Never seen this guy before in my life, didn't know anything about him. And he asked me, saying, how would you like to be part of this interview that we're doing right now? And I think he actually recognized, I think he wanted me on because I had the vest and the full gear on. So I just came up, answered a few questions. I didn't realize that not only would that interview, which was a collection of other ones, was going to go on their Facebook page, I didn't realize it was also going up on local television too. Not over here, but obviously in the Upper Peninsula of Michigan. Yet in the end, I only did it because it was something that I enjoyed. It was not for the attention and fame. It was just, spreading that love and cheer. And I even say my clip is the very first one. I just say that a lot of these paracons, yes, we get a lot of those drama ones, but there's also other ones out there that they're like family reunions. And that's all what it comes down.
That's how it was when we went to that other Paracon, when we went to the Mineral Springs Paracon, the second one, and we saw you guys there. It was like going home. Yep. And, we had a great time. But, you said something there with the Irene's. It goes back to somebody walked in the room and sucked all the air out of it, giving you that look. It takes all the fun out of it, and it makes you self-conscious about everything else that's going on, and you can't take your focus off of the fact that these people are willing you to have a horrible time.
That's why, and believe it or not, that group actually does run a Paracon of their own. And even though there's other people that I do get along with that do attend it, there's just no point of going to that one because they're just going to because it's like one of those things that we show up, just to have a good time. And they're probably thinking, oh, geez, not these guys, that kind of thing. And then they try to cause problems for not only yourself, but for anyone else around. So as far as I'm concerned, like if they're still running it, like let's say for next year, I wish I wish everyone else who is going to that, definitely the best, hopefully they have a good time, but we just won't attend ourselves. So believe it or not, there are some events out there that we will not attend because we know who those individuals are. And another thing to add too, with what Irene said is with what I've done too, to try to keep that term of para-unity alive. You guys obviously see, I go beyond the normal circumstances, like internationally, reach out to some countries, even if they're not investigators, people who have just the interests. You would never think twice you'd find people out there that would have it. I just made and I've been talking with her ever since, talking with an investigator from Czech Republic in Europe. And that's a place, obviously, you don't hear very often, when it comes to the paranormal. So that's why I've always been trying to spread, just like as so many others out there, but I try to spread that term of para-unity to the right folks, for lack of a better term.
Well, our friend Irene that's in here, she's in Japan.
That's correct. Yeah.
She's on their network.
Oh, yeah. Oh, okay. That's right.
That's where my son lives too. He actually made international champion. He's a wrestler in Japan. He's also a school teacher for, there's a different word for it there, and I don't want to mess it up, but differently abled children. So, yeah. I'm going to say one thing about that. The para-unity thing. I understand if you have dealt with somebody and they are a total ass and they're a total ass, staying away from them.
Mm-hmm.
What I don't understand is when people talk about other people and say things about them and you just automatically believe it and go, okay, yep, I'm staying away from them and I don't like them and I don't know. Nope. For me, they need to prove to me that they're a jerk.
Right.
I mean, I agree with you 100%. I've had people say negative things about friends of mine, and I like that person. And I've told many people,
right,
I like them, and I'm sorry that you don't, but I'm not change. I said, if I was going to change my friend because you told me to change my friend,
yeah,
then on top of that, that means that friend could tell me to not be your friend anymore. Would you respect me if I was to take somebody else's word for how I'm supposed to feel?
Yep.
So, there's a person in our life that anytime we see him, we avoid him. Mm-hmm. But he'll always come up to me and hug me. And Ron will walk the other way because Ron wants to kill him. But me, on the other hand, he'll walk up to me and hug me and make me feel uncomfortable as hell. And let me tell you this, I still smile. I kill them with kindness, and just don't let them think that they're bothering me.
Right. Yeah.
I'm not going to let that one person ruin my day.
Yep.
Even though he did try to ruin my vacation one time. And Nick knows who I'm talking about.
Yeah, I know exactly. See, and that's the reason why, just like you said, Adrian, I mean, unless these people are proven to be problems, I mean, I don't doubt the least bit that within our paranormal community that there's certainly some individuals out there that are up to no good. And unless they're becoming an actual problem or embarrassment or a disrespect for us as an entire paranormal community.
Oh, there's a lot of those. We just have to ignore them.
We just have to turn around and walk.
That's what I was about to say too, was, unless that there's some evidence about that, I don't judge everybody else, because in the end, that's their business.
That's right. That's a good way to go.
Yeah. And a lot of investigators or wannabes or whatever they are an embarrassment to our field.
They are.
Oh, yeah.
That's our opinion that they're an embarrassment.
That's true.
That's not, I am not going to go tell them, shame on you. You're naughty, No,
it's more shame on you for letting them get to you.
Yeah. Yeah. Not my problem. And
that's right. My mom always said, not my circus, not my monkeys.
Unfortunately, it's my circus. They're just not my monkeys.
Well, you know what? They have a tranquilizer gun for that.
I really, really need to find one.
Maybe an electronic kettle prod?
Oh, yeah, I do have that. Yes. I've used that before. So has anybody heard about the Aurora thing? The Aurora, Colorado?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's an hour.
I'm glad to see that Crystal was in here an hour.
Yeah, an hour.
Here's the thing, though.
I knew this was going to happen. I can't say I'm surprised
about it, because people that live less than 5 minutes from these alleged complexes are saying they don't know a thing about it. There are other people that are saying they've seen it. They're putting out ring cams. You know, I don't know what the hell to believe, but I'll be damned if I'm going to go drive down there to find out.
No, I mean, so
wow. About 20 minutes from there.
Yeah, I've seen the
Friend
videos
close
of
to
it.
Okay. Is it happening? Are they saying that these people are actually taking over?
are they breaking, Crystal, are they really breaking into people's apartments and taking over their apartments? I mean, I saw a video where this guy on his cell phone saw these guys breaking into the apartment, and he takes his cell phone and he goes. He's getting out, getting the hell. Yes, it's actually happening.
Oh, it's happening. You just
Okay.
depending on what news you watch or where you get your information.
So I'm going to put this
Where
disclaimer
you'll
out.
see it.
Biker gangs are not going. That is a bullshit story. The only reason any 1% gang is going to go anywhere is if one of theirs is affected, and it's not. So those pictures people are putting out, there was a rally close to there this last weekend.
Yeah, and they wanted it to be something.
I wish they would go because they would have some pull. I really do. But that's not the truth.
And Crystal, we agree. There's a lot of cover up.
There's a lot of cover.
Yeah, it's happening in Greeley.
media.
They're breaking into people's houses, holding them hostage. I'm going to tell you right now, they break in my house and I'm going to prison because they're going to be dead.
How would you go to prison when you're protecting yourself and your dwelling?
It happens.
We
That's
just
wrong.
ran into a lady
That's
a couple weeks ago. She's a truck driver and she's back home. She had broken her leg, but she was laid up in a wheelchair. And she come home and there was a guy in her house. And this is about 30 miles up the road. All strung out on drugs and everything, but
And the thing is, she treated him really nice.
yeah, she treated him. He
because she didn't know what to expect.
tore her place up, stole a bunch of things, stole her car, and she said, "I didn't have anything." You know, she goes, "I'm in a wheelchair. I can't even hardly get around at all. I don't know what he's got. If he's going to try and kill me, he ends up stealing her car, and she calls the cops. They catch her. Okay, when the cops get there, she's telling them the story. You know what the cops said? Why aren't we dragging him out in a body bag right now? That's what the cop said. He goes, why aren't we doing that? Because we would gladly do that for you.
The cops in Aurora are saying they have squatters' rights.
Yeah, exactly. It's totally different. Totally different place
Good
where you
news.
live and where we're at.
So here on July 1st, there are no squatters' rights. There's homeowners' rights.
There's none.
Awesome. That is amazing. That's what
We're in a
needs
free
to happen
state.
here.
Hallelujah.
And that's what
One
they call it.
phone call. One phone call from the mayor of that damn town. One phone call. And we could have the armed forces here. Why don't we?
Easy. I know. Exactly. To take care of it.
I don't get it. I
Yep.
don't.
So I saw a note 15 minutes ago saying that we had 15 minutes.
Oh,
yeah.
sorry, Jeremy.
I was going to say, unfortunately, we do have to cut things because I know the next show is starting up.
Oh, sorry.
So
No,
I didn't see the notes.
I didn't either.
Let's scroll by.
No.
I didn't either.
Okay.
oh, geez. And look who just showed up, Adrian. Now she shows up.
My other half.
Yeah, unfortunately, we're just about to end this, Jan. So, yeah, I just want to say first off, Ron and Denise, thank you guys so much for coming on. This was a great conversation.
Oh, it's good to see you.
Yeah, it was.
It's good to meet you, Adrian.
We got to talk about politics and violence and beliefs and
Everything. We talked about everything. Whoops.
Who says we're not paranormal?
We're more normal, or we're more unnormal than anything else.
That's it.
So, well, you want me to plug my show?
Please.
I'd be happy to come back on at some point as well.
Well, join me every Monday night at 7 p.m. Central here on Network. Perfect. Join me every Monday night at 7 p.m. Central for the Paranormal Pride here on Things Network, also on Bill of Rights Network and the Paranormal Pride page. Join us on Tuesday nights at 5 p.m. Central for Paranormal Nation Radio, Not So Normal with Carl, Ron, and myself, and whatever guest or fresh meat we find for that day. So, and we're also on the Things Network for that one, the Pride Paranormal Pride Facebook page, Temple of Phoenix Rising Entertainment, and Born TV on Rumble.
And I agree with Jeremy. We'll definitely have you guys back real soon.
Well, we need Jeremy to get back to as close to 100% as he can. That's
He's going to, or we're going to have to just drive down there.
And also at some point,
it's all downhill for you, Clint.
I worked. I used to work at a steel plant, and I'm surprised we didn't have more people get killed.
Jeez,
seriously hurt.
Yeah,
like he did.
Well, at some point too, I also wanted to just throw this out quick. I know it's been quite a while since I've really mentioned this too. Is Denise, at some point, I'd like to get you guys. Well, and Ron, if you want to be part of it too, you're more than welcome to. Is I'm going to be starting to be making more audiobooks soon, real soon. So you guys want to be part of it? It would be great to have you guys back. Although right now I got to make some repairs on some of the previous ones. So at some point, once I get this all done, I'll reach out to you guys on that. So
just don't give me the slimy stories.
That's why I let everybody choose them.
We got a ton of story. I mean, it depends on where we were at.
No, they're written stories.
Hey, we got it. It's all right.
And finally, just before we get off, because Jeremy just wrote this, so next week we're going to have Linda Burns on. She is the host of her news show, Haunted Memoirs, and I'm someone else I've actually met personally too. So, yeah, we're definitely going to be looking forward to for that next one. But like I said, Ron, Denise, thank you guys once again. Like I said, we'll have you guys back on. And until then, for everyone who's tuned in, thanks for hanging out and chatting with us. And we'll see you guys next week. So you guys all have a great night.
Night, everybody.